This Old Bay crab cake classic mix. Now this is so simple, it is delicious. I've made this before. Even when I lived in Maryland, I used this mix. 10 minutes prep time, 10 minutes cook time. You get yourself some Phillips crab meat. I got this at Costco. Phillips is a Maryland-based company. It's great. Now I'm using Mike's amazing real mayonnaise. This is really good mayonnaise, but it was also on sale. Now some people might, yell blasphemy because it's not Hellman's or Duke, whatever. I don't care. It is good. Then we got some lemon squeeze, lemon juice. This is, you can get it at any grocery store. It's really good. And for a crab cake sandwich, you got to have a nice tomato, some Martin's potato rolls. They're always delicious. And you want some crispy sandwich leaf lettuce. I just went ahead and got this. Pretty easy to use. So let's go ahead and get started. After you open this, you want to drain it, and then you want to break it apart and look for any shells or cartilage. You don't want your people choking on it. So let's go ahead and do that. You gotta open your crab meat. Now that you have your crab meat in the bowl, you want to search for any shells, but you don't want to over, aggravate it or whatever, because you don't want these lumps to break up too much. You want to kind of keep them together. That's going to give you your good consistency. Half a cup of mayonnaise. Crab cake mix. You can see it has a nice little blend of spices and a little bit of breadcrumbs in there. Nothing too much. Mix it together. We're going to add the crab meat to the mayonnaise and packet mixture. Go ahead and get that all in there. You want to gently toss until it's all mixed around. Again, you're not trying to break up those lumps too much. You want to get it just enough that you want to just mix it around just enough. You see, this is primarily crab. This is not a bunch of filler. Now we have it all mixed up nicely. We didn't over mix it. All we have to do now is form it and put it on a pan. The recipe says you can get 6 crab cakes out of these. I typically go a little bit larger, and I might end up with 4 to 5 depending. Now I put it on some parchment paper, and that helps it to not stick as much than going on like say tin foil or straight to the pan. I think 4 is usually these. I want so usually it's going to be that is a great size for a cake. And we don't want to leave any crab left in the bowl. Pat them down just a little bit so they're a little less thick. So that way it just warms up all the way throughout. Because the crab meat's already cooked. You're really just kind of heating them up at this point. We're going to put them in the oven for 5 minutes each side on broil, and that should be it. This mix isn't gluten-free, but I do have a gluten-free recipe that I'm going to make a video, so subscribe now so you don't miss that. Everybody should be able to enjoy Maryland crab cakes, even people that can't tolerate gluten. So you want to gently get under there and flip them. After you flip them, you go ahead and put them back in the oven, but reform them a little bit if they're still a little wet. Go another 5 minutes. This is the time you want to go ahead and get your tomato ready. Slice it up. Wash it if you haven't. I don't like my tomato slices too thick on a sandwich, but you don't want them too thin either. Now, whenever you get lettuce, you need to make sure if it's triple washed or this is rinse and use, so we got to wash it off. If you're like me, you probably want to rinse it anyways because do you really trust them? And pat it dry a little bit. Get most of that water off. Another ingredient I can't go without when it comes to crab cakes is a good tartar sauce. If you have a Costco that stocks these, I've seen them across the country, so you should be able to get them. These are awesome. It's 1 pound, 2 ounces. You get 6 crab cakes. kind of like what the mix said 1 pound should make. But I made a little bit bigger ones because I like them a little bigger. But these are perfect for something like a little crab cake sandwich in the afternoon. You know, it takes, I think it says 9 minutes or something like that to cook them. I'll look it up. I'll post it down here. But I also use these for crab cake benedicts. You know, these are really great in the morning. You want to have something, you know, a little fancier than just a regular old breakfast, but you don't want to spend a lot of time. You can use these. They are done. So is my parchment paper. All right, we're gonna make a sandwich now. We got our potato rolls. Like I add a little bit of mayo to the bun, just to kind of, you know, wet it down a little bit. Because we're also gonna use a little bit of tartar sauce. Good reminder, if your tartar sauce has been in the fridge for a while, make sure it's not expired. Sometimes, depending on how big they are, they, you know, sometimes they want to start to crumble a little bit. That's okay. Because we're gonna smash this thing down anyways. Let me get me a nice size tomato and get a little bit of lettuce. I almost forgot the most important ingredient. You gotta have a little bit of extra Old Bay, because even though it comes with Old Bay, you're gonna want a little bit more. So we're gonna throw a little bit of that on there. Not too much. You don't wanna overdo it. If you're like me, you want a little bit of tang to it, just get a little dose of lemon juice. There you go. Not too much. Flip it over. Smash it down a little bit. Oh, not too much. Look at that. Look at that right there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is good.